Good morning, story trading VIPs. Welcome to another awesome morning of predicting and making sense out of markets. All right, so this morning, no surprise, uh, this is easy, unless something unexpected happens in terms of big earnings or geopolitical, and we didn't have any unexpected things. So you're going to get a continuation of this move to the 20 DMA, 384, very expected. Same thing with QQQ. You're getting a pullback to that 50 DMA. And then once we hit that, we'll reassess to see if we bounce off it or go to the next lower moving average. So that's the story. We told the TLT cheat code stopped working for us yesterday, and now no matter what TLT does, you're screwed. This morning there's increased chatter about interest rates and the such, but I think it's actually just noise. I think this is just a technical correction. It was moving there anyway. TLT down or up doesn't seem to make a difference right now in this moment. We are having this technical correction. Now, we had a bunch of earnings come out yesterday, mixed results. You see Global E and BABA, interesting on both of these because they missed on the top line, but they beat on earnings. And in the case of Global E, they actually raised earnings guidance. Look how it's clobbered. So this tells you the market, they don't even believe short-term good earnings because we're about to go into an earnings recession. That's the worry. And if a company, like in this case, they're like engineering or somehow through the agility of their business models, what Globee says, they're able to increase their EBITDA guidance for next quarter, even though revenue is a little light, and the market's just killing them because they're like, we want to see revenue growth. We don't think these earnings are going to be sustainable because we're going into a recession. That's what the market is telling you. I think it's definitely a bearish sentiment, and we're definitely going down to that next support. The question is going to be longer term, what's going to be that interaction with this key level, the 200-week moving average? Are we going to be able to hold this and try to have some semblance of stability and a bull market, or are we going to break below it and have a very extended bear market? So we'll have to play that day by day, but we have our direction for now. It's been clear since yesterday morning. We've been on top of this move down. So there were some mixed earnings besides BABA as well. It was the same story as Global E. Their earnings were good, but their revenue was light. So, they're being punished. Now, Cisco, they beat and raised, I believe, on the top line as well. Yep. So that's being rewarded. You got to beat, I guess, on both the top and the bottom line to be rewarded. NVIDIA, honestly, it didn't look like a great report. Revenue soft, some warnings, and it was up all last night, this morning. Now it's only modestly down. This has a premium in this stock. It's a $400 billion company. I've never really looked into this company, honestly. It's surprised me how large it is. And when I look at the price reactions and the market cap, I'm thinking this must be some sort of Wall Street darling that has some sort of high sentiment and premium in it, like Apple. So you're seeing a modest decline there. Not something I have a good handle on or I'd be interested in trading. And you got some other results. Macy's, I believe they beat on the top and bottom, so they're up 7%. But you got some mixed results, like Kohl's was down, KSS, another retail stock. So all in all, I think the earnings picture, not very clear. What is clear is the reaction to earnings, right? The reaction to earnings is telling you that the market is worried about an earnings recession, and they're not even going to believe good earnings unless there's top line growth. Now, on to specific stocks. Big shout out to Ariel. CTMX was not on our watch list. I have a watch list of 300 stocks here, and I'm limited to 300, all right, with TD Ameritrade here, so I can't get everything. So I had to delete some tickers to get CTMX into the watch list this morning. But Ariel gave this to us early this morning, and he gave us a couple. Through the story trading method, he also gave us ARDX. We look at 4 pillars, not just the headlines. CTMX and the other one both had headlines. We look not just the technicals, not just the SEM. We try to incorporate everything and the fundamentals on this deal. So what happened was Regeneron partnership with CytomX. So first of all, Regeneron, everyone knows that's a huge company. Okay, CytomX, $79 million market cap. Now, if you don't know it's a huge company, let's look it up. We'll prove it to everyone. All right. Regeneron, $80 billion company. Okay, so you have an $80 billion company now partnering with a $80 million company. And what's awesome about, so that's sentiment. That's great for sentiment. Now, what's awesome about this deal, if it's not in the headlines, you had to read it. So thank God I went through and I read it. They're getting $30 million upfront in cash for this deal. Okay, there it is. Upfront payment of $30 million in cash. Now, you could do pretty quickly. You can do that math here, assuming this share count is correct, which it might not be completely correct, $66 million, but that comes to 45 cents a share. So they're getting 45 cents a share from Regeneron. So this is just like fundamental balance sheet stuff. If you assume, and I assume, the market is efficient. So if you assume yesterday's price did not include this deal, especially because it was not moving up, this was not leaked. In the last month, in the last 3 months, no indications that this was coming out. So this was not leaked. So yesterday was the market efficient price at 120. You got to add 45 cents to that. Your new base is 165. And maybe you can even go to the beginning of the week and say, hey, it was 130. It just had a dip because the market was bad the last couple of days, so maybe 130 plus 45 cents. 175 is kind of your new base for your fair value because of this 30 cents. But not only that, now you have not only the sentiment of Regeneron, but if you look at this deal, there's potential for more revenue, up to $2 billion of revenue, depending on commercial, clinical, preclinical milestones. So this is a big deal. Apparently, Ariel, who gave this to us in here, it also says that Regeneron is going to pay for the expenses in addition and above that 30 million. I'm not sure that I caught that. It may be in there, but I personally didn't see it myself, but I was skimming this and read it word for word. So possible he's right about that. So in any case, I jumped all over this at 144 this morning when I saw it. I've actually been averaging up. I think this stock should reprice to at least $1.65 just by adding 45 cents to the $1.20 close yesterday. So that's what I'm looking at here. You can see technically we have some resistance at $1.70. Let's move in. It's these two candles that it got blocked at. Yeah, $1.74. $1.77. So around the $1.75 level, which coincides, by the way, that nicely coincides with where the market was a couple days ago, 130 plus 45 cents. It coincides with that 175 technical resistance. So that's a nice little level. And then you have the 200 DMA up here at $2. So I collaborated with Rex for a second opinion on this. And at first he was doubtful that this could break out of the mid 140s, but I'm like, dude, story trading style. Let's assume for a second it does break out of the 140s, and we're going to gap open at 165, or we're going to break above 165 and hold it based on these fundamentals. Then what's your target? That's how you have to work with the technical analysts, okay? Then what's your target? And he came up with something that similarly matched what I said. I think he said 180 to 190. So we just saw 175 here. It's close enough. So call it 175 to 185. Maybe kind of a range of a target area. So that's the most likely scenario he sees for today. He says there is a shot if we break $2. Oh, which, by the way, matches not only the 200 DMA resistance, but matches all of these candles up here. So massive resistance to $2 is like, if this breaks $2, you could have a supernova move. Okay, so don't count on that in this market, right? So I think this is a nice pickup. Even now, probably a nice pickup. If it dips into the 140s, even a better pickup. And then, 165 minimum target to about 175, 185 would be a nice target range. Upside target to 2, and then miracle move, supernova above 2. In this market, I doubt it a little bit, but you never know because this is Regeneron. It's 45 cents in cash, and it's $2 billion in milestone payments. It is possible that you have a breakout above $2. But this risk reward is great. 153 to 165, even right here for today. I really like this. Okay, now some other stocks. There was some news on DXLG. They beat earnings again, second quarter in a row. But the earnings didn't look spectacular. Even though they beat it, it's only 10 cents a share, I think it was. So if you annualize that, the stock doesn't look so cheap over here. What was it? 16 cents. I'm sorry, 16 cents. Last quarter, they did 32 cents, right? So quarter over quarter, there's a decline, but the estimates were 7 cents. They came in at 16 cents. They beat on the top line. Still very bullish commentary. I'm not playing it. I missed it last week. We saw this news last quarter, and I didn't jump on it. when it gapped at like 475 and kept on going. But nice little company that's growing in the retail clothing sector despite all the headwinds that's currently going on. So they are executing correctly, doing something right. GLNG, just pointing out there was an upgrade today. It's performed badly since earnings yesterday. I hold a small long-term position. Idea that Mac gave us to play the natural gas disruption in the pipeline from Russia to Europe. They got an upgrade, $17 to $33 from Deutsche Bank. So that's interesting. But I don't know about play today. Clearfield earnings after the close. We covered this yesterday. Some of you picked this up with us between 90 and yesterday. We picked that up at $90 to $92. And I see when I cut out, by the way, I still cannot for the life of me figure out why my internet keeps cutting out, but I see it when it happens. So when I see it, I pause and I come right back on. So don't worry, you're not missing anything. You see CTMX now dipping to 150. Honestly, I wish I was not on the show right now. I think I'd buy some right here at 150, 151. But listen, I'm not a certified financial advisor. Make your own decisions on that. Want to point out air. Man, did we ever nail the top of air? I gave a warning signal after the close and going into the close on November 15th. I'm like, danger, danger, danger. If air closes red today, that's a sign of a peak. Now, it didn't close red, but the next morning, it gapped below this 200 MA, and I immediately gave a warning signal. Hey, the top for now is here. I was able to sell some at $25, but for me personally, I didn't have any trading shares. This is just my long-term account in air, so I only sold like somewhere between 5 and 7% of my shares at $25. I regretted a little bit, but whatever. It's not like it's account I actively trade, and I worry I won't buy back in and at the lows, and then I'll miss a move to 40. Play it like you want. But now it's quickly coming in. Here's a 20 DMA, and look how nicely it's been following that 20 DMA. Not to the penny. It tends to dip below it, right? So also watch your RSI to get a combination of, good signals with a low RSI and a price at or below the 20 DMA. So I think, high 20s to low 21s at a minimum is where it could start being a good entry again. And that's coming very rapidly. This evolved faster than I thought it would. So very nice entry possibility coming for air soon. Just want to point out both XXII and DRIO are at a Craig-Hallum conference today. So maybe they're going to convince some institutional investors to come into the stock the next few days. Keep that in mind. XXII, let's just look at some support levels. It could drop here. It could drop back to 114. So be wary of that. DRIO, I was looking for 570. It hit 550. We'll have to see. We spoke to the CEO of DRIO yesterday afternoon. Everyone's going to make their own decisions on that. But, I'm sticking with my 570 swing target for now. RSI is a little bit stretched. We'll have to see if it gets there or not. But let's see if we get more analyst upgrades or price targets. Only I've seen one so far from Alliance on DRIO. All right. And that, you know what? Let's wrap it up. It's 9:15. QUIK. I've talked about QUIK a lot. I think let's get the research going on it. In the VIP research room, I've been putting out research requests. People who know certain stocks, people who may want to present certain stocks. I'm vetting things through a funnel and giving you guys the best ideas to run with. I can't do all the research myself. All right. So let's get some volunteers. Go in the VIP research group. And if you're familiar with the name, let us know about it. If you want to jump on something, volunteer to do the research on it, go ahead. Let's do that, because let's find another 4, 5, 6 stocks that could be 5, 10 baggers in the next couple of years. And it's possible that QUIK could be one of them. All right. ADM, I actually like right now because the market's down, and this has been a little bit of a hedge. Now in pre-market, it's battling the 20 DMA. So if it goes below that today, it's not going to look pretty. I got to admit it, right? So let's just hope it holds it. If it goes below it, it's not going to look pretty. So if it holds it, I still think we're heading for all-time highs on ADM. So the other one, which surprised me a little bit, but I gave it to you yesterday via Rex because I contacted him about ADM, and he knows what stocks we follow in our community. So he's like, hey, yeah, I like ADM, Ben, that's good, but I like Celsius even better. It was like at $96. So it's like, it's going to test 100. And it did the same afternoon in a down market. Sometimes that guy's a phenom. So anyway, this morning he told me this is still good. He still likes it for this time. A test of like 108 to 110. And I don't see it again. So 2 days in a row, is giving me a signal on Celsius. The first day surprised me. Maybe the second day will surprise me. But I like the stock. It's in my long-term holdings, so great. I'm happy if it goes to 108, 110, but potentially watch this for a trade. Man, missed that entry there at 149, 150 on CTMX. I'm watching it on level 2 here on my other screen. All right, Zim, a little bit of a bid this morning. I don't know. We had a debate on it yesterday morning, and Matt, who initially gave this to us, is a little bit cold on it. He says, "Yeah, you could trade it, but you don't want to hold this long term because of the cycle it's the stock is going into." So let's just look at the technicals here. You can see the 50 DMA. 25.50 hopefully holds, but don't forget you get $2.95 dividend November 29th in about 12 days from now. Okay, let's leave it at that. Forget about DWAC. It's done. Is not a quality company, and we're buying the dips when you can or selling puts. And that's it, guys. I think we're set up for another great day of at least understanding markets, right? Not being confused why the QQQ is down. And hopefully we found a nice, awesome target to trade here in CTMX and gave you lots of other ideas. CLFD, your last chance to buy it. AIR, getting into buy territory. Watch that. XXII, DRIO at a conference today. Potentially something, some buyers coming up in the next few days. ADM, let's see if that continues acting as a hedge. And thank you guys for joining us today. Got a comment here. Let's just throw it up while we're getting ready to go. Keep in mind that Regeneron will pay for 100% of the development costs preclinical. Oh, he mentioned this, right? So Ariel did mention that, but you just want to independently verify that by reading the press release. So guys, if you're watching the replay here, we do this every morning. The replay is shown for free on YouTube at 4 p.m. So you miss all the good stuff. If you want to get this show live every morning, hop on over to StoryTrading.com. You got a 7-day risk-free trial. And with that, we'll see you tonight. VTSI, 9 p.m. We're interviewing the CEO, okay? 9 p.m. Eastern on Zoom, VIPs only. We'll see you tonight. Have a great day and off to do some trading on CTMX.